On March 2, which is Sunday, India and New Zealand will square off in the ICC Champions Trophy after a gap of 25 years. Imagine that gap, and imagine meaningless India versus Pakistan games happening every year. Now, this is what you would call a novel rivalry when you look at it. But as far as India versus New Zealand in ICC ODI events is concerned, it is quite a healthy rivalry. And New Zealand hold a very slight edge because they have clashed 12 times. This is ICC ODI events, meaning World Cup plus Champions Trophy. New Zealand, out of the 12, have won 6. India have won only 5. One game, which was a 2019 World Cup encounter in Trent Bridge, was abandoned even without a toss. Now, when you look at this rivalry, there are 3 trends. 1, New Zealand have never lost to India in England. New Zealand, on the other hand, have lost everything in India. The one advantage is India versus New Zealand is at a neutral venue. But when you look at even neutral venues, it is 4-1 in New Zealand's favor. Because England, they have won everything. New Zealand, when you look at, they won 1 encounter at home. They won 1 encounter in Nairobi. So actually, it is 5-1. So what has been the history of New Zealand versus India contest when you look at ICC ODI events? Because 1975, New Zealand won by 4 wickets in Manchester, which was the first ever ODI World Cup that was held. New Zealand really were on a roll at that time. They were one of the stronger teams. And in the 70s also, they were becoming one of the key teams to play. And the trend continued. Whenever you played in England, New Zealand had your number. 1979, yet again, India's disastrous World Cup ended. They even had lost to Sri Lanka in 1979, who were then associate members. So India made it to a 0-2 against them because New Zealand won both encounters in 1975 and 1979. But then India got one back. In 1987, when the World Cup was held in India and in Pakistan, they played twice. India won both encounters by 16 runs in Bengaluru, which was a close encounter. But in the 1987 World Cup match in Nagpur, Chetan Sharma took a hat-trick and Sunil Gavaskar hit a brilliant 100 of just 87 balls to ensure that New Zealand would be eliminated in a big, big way. So 1987, all the losses that happened in 75 and 79 was equal. But then 1992, in the theatre of pain in Dunedin, New Zealand managed to win with Mark Greatbatch hitting a brilliant 73. And because of that, India won. India once again had to suffer defeat in Dunedin in that 1992 World Cup. It was not going well for them, but unfortunately for them, they encountered a very inspired New Zealand team who were stifled by the likes of Morrison, Deepak Patel, and India had no clue to that. Azharuddin and Sachin Tendulkar did well, but apart from that, there was no other contribution. When you look at the 1999 World Cup, yet again it was New Zealand showing their dominance in England because they managed to chase down India's total. India had put up a decentish total in Trent Bridge, but it was the duo of Roger Toos, Nathan Astle and everybody else who ensured New Zealand would win by 4 wickets and 5 wickets. Jeff Allett in particular was fantastic in that game along with Dion Nash. And then this iconic moment, 2000 in the Champions Trophy, India were riding high on victories over Australia and South Africa. Then they stumbled upon the Black Caps. Roger Toos and Chris Cairns. Chris Cairns just on one leg alone hit a brilliant century and supported by Toos and Chris Harris ensured New Zealand had won their first ever ICC event, and it came at the start of the 21st century. It was indeed a golden 2000 for New Zealand because even the women's team had won the ODI World Cup. 2003, Zahir Khan and Ashish Nehra along with Javagal Srinath ensured that New Zealand were bowled out for a very low score. Shane Bond ripped through the top order. But then when Brendan McCullum dropped Rahul Dravid, the game was done. Dravid and Kef ensured that you won a very good game at Centurion. And then 16 years later, you all thought that New Zealand had suffered heartbreak in 2003. this heartbreak would be multiplied 7x. Thala for a reason. Because in Old Trafford, New Zealand in that two-day game ensured that MS Dhoni's farewell would be the most remembered and emotional farewell. When he didn't dive, Guptill hit a direct hit, and Williamson at that point ensured that his knock, along with Matt Henry's explosive spell, India lost by 18 runs, and because of that, they were dumped out of the World Cup. But in 2023, India had their revenge again. 2 victories in Dharamshala and in Mumbai. Mumbai in particular, Virat Kohli breaking Sachin Tendulkar's record for the most hundreds ensured that New Zealand would be eliminated in the semi-final race. They did put up a good fight though. But in Dharamshala, it was Mohammad Shami yet again, and in Mumbai, 7 wickets by Mohammad Shami that ensured New Zealand had no way out. And that is why when you look at India versus New Zealand encounters, it's been really topsy-turvy. New Zealand with 6, India with 5. World Cups, it is 5-5. Champions Trophy, so far, it is 1-0. In the T20 World Cups, if you look at it, because we're not considering T20Is, it's 3-0 in New Zealand's favour. So, overall ICC events stand at 10-5 in favour of New Zealand. Will New Zealand ensure that they extend their dominance, or India will end 25 years of pain in the ICC Champions Trophy? You can write to us in the comments below. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.